Well, Daniel Krieger is Executive Director and co-founder of the Association of Climate Change Officers. That is an organization focused on addressing the risks and opportunities of climate change. Daniel, thanks for taking time to chat with us. I appreciate it. Now, China's economy has...
Thank you for having me this week.
China's economy has really exploded since 1990, but as we heard, the president of the country has made it clear that China's citizens don't want economic success to come at the expense of the environment, threatening food and water supplies. How much do you think China has really changed in the last 10 years or so?
Well, certainly its ambitions with respect to decoupling its economic growth and its population growth from its emissions have been a noticeable change. Major commitments to peak emissions by 2030 or sooner are significant. Its commitment to use clean energy and renewable energy has fundamentally changed the clean energy market. So it's a pivot, and it's significant, but it needs to be faster and it needs to be bigger.
Yeah, let's pick up on that, because just this past week, China passed its first Specialized Wetlands Protection Act that went into effect. I didn't know that it was just a few days ago, but still in many ways it is difficult for China to kind of gain international traction that it is trying to improve its environment.
Yeah, it's tough. You have a reputation to overcome of decades of pollution into the atmosphere from gases that were not greenhouse gases, going back, even well before the 90s, that have come over into the United States, for example, making its way across the Pacific and really creating substantial atmospheric and air quality issues here, to now the greenhouse gases that are being emitted. And it's going to take some time for the world to have confidence that this is in fact happening, that it's China's substantial commitments, not just towards reducing emissions, but investing in clean energy, adapting to the impacts of climate change, and helping developing countries, are all things that are coming together.
It's interesting you say that, because to what degree do you think these changes are coming in part because of such a growing educated middle class? I've been over there when the pollution's been so bad you had to wear masks, and it's not just air pollution from factories, also from the Gobi Desert, as that desert continues to spread, and people don't want their children to have to stay inside due to smog and sandstorms, or pre-COVID having to wear masks outside.
Well, I think you have a variety of things here that have contributed to growing awareness and a motivation to do better. I think your point about the middle class is spot on. Access to information in the internet is a generation changer of how we understand how we interact with the world, is a big piece. Hosting the Olympics and having to shut an entire city down in order to clean up the air for a couple of weeks, just so athletes could perform. These are eye-opening things that you can't avoid noticing and being impacted by.
Yeah, and there are many tough battles still ahead. You mentioned you'd like to see it a lot faster, but these decisions are going to be made even more difficult now that COVID has really dragged down the global economy. But from the top in China, it seems clear that the message is let's stay the course and continue to work on the environment as much as possible.
I see that messaging. I think what we're talking about is metaphorically like pivoting a battleship. You're talking about 1 billion people. It's not just the top leadership. Everybody is we're talking about societal transformation, as the IPCC called out last year. This is going to take some time for us all to figure out, how do we get the society that we want without destroying the environment that sustains our health?
It's a tough question. Daniel Krieger, we appreciate your time, the Executive Director and co-founder of the Association of Climate Change Officers. Thank you very much. Well, don't go anywhere.